Hi, I'm Ralph Amicis. I'm the astrologer for Planetary Calendar, and this is the forecast for March 2017. Now, in doing this, I'm using both the forecast that we wrote, I'm using the calendar, and I'm using the chart for the lunations. Now, the calendar, as you probably know, looks just like this. And on the calendar, you will see periodically things like this, where you see a little C. And that C will refer to something in the forecast. And it was designed this way so that as you use the calendar and as you look at the days, when you see a letter, you know that there's something up above in the forecast to read. Now, when I speak about conjunctions or sextiles or any kind of aspect there, if you don't see it on the day, don't be concerned. When we show it on the calendar, we're showing it as being precise, you know, the degree, the minute, and the second. But many of these aspects are active for extended periods of time. So it doesn't matter if it's not exact, because in truth, as long as it's in the room with you, that's what really matters. So let's look at the forecast first. March 2017. Starts right off with a high frequency conjunction close together between the Sun and spiritual Neptune on the 1st. So it's going to promote intuition, inspiration, and spiritual connectedness. Okay? But even though you might be really in the Zen state, on the 4th, you're going to expect some short-term turbulence, because Venus is going to turn retrograde, and she's going to stay retrograde until mid-April, which makes us very personally aware of love, beauty, and our unique natures. Most planets don't do retrograde really well. Venus is actually quite good at it. Venus is maybe the one planet that does retrograde really well, because what it does is it makes us internally aware of the Venusian energies. Okay? But Venus has two sides. You know, we tend to think of her as the goddess of love. But in the chart, in the person's chart, if she is leading the Sun, she's actually the warrior goddess. If she's following the Sun, then she's the Venusian goddess, you know, the goddess of love. This difference is so distinctive that in Mesoamerican astrology, the way in which it played out in their lives, they thought it was two separate planets. Though probably astronomically they realized they were the same, but there was a period of time when Venus goes retrograde and backs up into the Sun, or appears to, goes back into the light. You can't see her, and then she emerges on the other side, which is a major conjunction. It's the inferior conjunction of Venus, it's called, but it's an important part of our mythology. It's that willingness of people that for the sake of love for their partner, they will go down into Hades to seek them out and emerge on the other side. Right? In other words, the things we do for love. Or as they said in Pinky and the Brain, why does a chicken cross the road? If not for love, I do not know. Of course, chickens probably feel like they're just looking forward to some time in the future when chickens could cross the road and not have their motives questioned. So, on to the serious stuff. So once we get past the 4th, okay, there's going to be another speed bump on the 9th. And that's because Mars, who's been in Aries, sign he really, really likes, it's one of his ruling signs, you know, aggressive, great for the springtime, storms into Taurus, just on the 9th. So when a planet change a sign like that, there's turbulence. You know, you will notice that things just get a little jumpy for a day or so. It's probably the reason why in ancient times they actually recognized the change in signs, because, you know, these people were herdspeople and such, and they would see their flocks get, you know, wacky at certain periods of time as a planet changed sign. So it does calm down, though, and Mars in Taurus loves to garden, loves nature, loves going out there in the woods. So when Mars goes into Taurus after the 9th, make sure you take time to go gardening. Make sure you go out to the park, or you go for a good hike in nature. It really will restore you physically and emotionally. Ah, on the 12th. The 12th is the full moon, okay, and I call it a rambunctious full moon. And where is that right now? March 12th full moon, okay? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You have the sun conjunct Pallas Athena, the warrior goddess, also conjunct Chiron and Mercury. So you might say, I don't want to say that they're troublemakers, but they do stir up the pot, okay? Opposite the moon in Virgo. So, and then the thing that's really triggering this thing, though, is what's called a Cardinal T that's going on. And this Cardinal T is, Cardinal likes to get things done. Cardinal is the initiator. You know, the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. They initiate stuff. Then everyone else has to kind of adjust to them. Because of this cardinal cross, even though the sun's in Pisces, which is not, it's kind of a nebulous sign, and the sun has come off of conjunction with Neptune, which really empowers, Pisces. There's going to be a really strong desire to get things done. Also, and one of the players is Uranus, though Venus is in Aries too, so it strengthens that, and Jupiter. So it's Pluto, Jupiter, Uranus, with Venus being a player in there. So even within kind of the fog, you might say, within the kind of the nebulous feeling, there's going to be a real strong desire to get things done. And you may at times feel like, you just want to take another nap and they want to get up and play. You wanted to just kind of coast a little bit, and they're all saying, oh, we got to reorganize the office. Okay, so, and then the Mars in Taurus is early Taurus. And this is what's called the stubborn section of Taurus. The first part of Taurus is stubborn and bossy, the bossy part of Taurus. So you combine these things together, there's going to be a certain amount of like push-pull where people are like, oh, no, I don't want to go that way. Yes, you're going to go this way. No, I don't want to go. That kind of stuff that's going to go on at this time. And this is, during that full moon and around that full moon on the 12th. So it's going to kind of disrupt your external world. So what you need to do is use your spiritual tools. And also, honestly, you would really do well during this full moon to not watch the news. Just don't watch the news. Just kind of don't go on Facebook too much. No. Just cut yourself off a little bit. The storms will pass you by. Okay? Now, during this period of time, Jupiter is moving away from the beneficial star Spica, where he has spent the first couple of months, which really has been very beneficial in terms of our sense of service to others, our sense of mission, and also that's been a real nice sextile to Saturn, which has been really good for the economy. So in this first part of the year, we can really expect the economy to be working very nicely. But now Jupiter is picking up speed. He's moving away from the sextile, and that comforting kind of financial stability could start to suffer some disruptions and disconnects. Okay, so just be kind of prepared for that. It will be more evident on the international scene, especially in places where natural resources are their main source of income. And they're going to suffer from a lack of demand in suppressed places. Most people don't realize that there's a lot of countries that are just totally dependent on their natural resources. Venezuela, Russia, not actually Iran to a certain extent, the Gulf states a lot. Iran actually less than some. People don't realize because it's got the largest population of very talented people. But, Iraq, Qatar, those countries are very, very dependent upon. Saudi Arabia is very dependent upon its oil income. And in those places, they're going to really see more of a disruption. Okay? Countries with larger, talented, educated populations, not so much. Now, on the 13th, it's marked with an E, Mercury enters single-minded Aries, okay? And this is a precursor to the upcoming spring. Our spring is just around the corner. The Chinese New Year is the Chinese spring, but we use, of course, the first day of Aries. And this is kind of a little, Mercury's kind of running ahead of the sun and saying, hey, wake up. So what you want to do is the ideas that kind of swirling around in your brain from all the stuff in Pisces, start putting them into words after the 13th. Start writing them down. Start putting ideas together, okay? And then what you're going to do is, by this point, you got a real strong, stubborn, determined Mars. Use that Mars energy to make some practical progress towards your goals, okay? And they're going to be goals that are very self-satisfying. Mars in Taurus is a very self-satisfying position. On the 20th, spring begins, spring equinox. And there's a stellium in Aries, including Venus close to the sun. So this is a really energized spring. That rooster, this is the year of the rooster, is going to really crow. This is a very high energy season, but it also has a great deal of charm. And that's from that Mars in Taurus. Mars in Taurus is a very charming position. It's the person who's always up saying, we're going to go do this, but brings flowers, maybe wine. And also, it's also at this time we're having a very strong desire for connection and pleasure and romance. It's the Aries, Taurus energy together. They all want to be connected. They want to engage. On the new moon on the 27th, it's marked with a G, is very empowering to the self, to your creativity, and to your sense of initiative. So you're going to really feel like, I can do this. Use it. Use that well. So we're almost finished at the 27th, but we're not quite finished. On the 31st, Mercury slowly enters Taurus. I say slowly because Taurus does stuff slowly. Mercury likes to move fast. So be patient with people. It's not them. It's the stars. So that's the forecast for March 2017 from Planetary Calendar. I'm Ralph Amicis, one of the astrologers. Hope you found it interesting. And come back and see us for next month, April, here at spaceandtime.com.